I am one of the top ranked players in NA and have won over 100 ranked games this season. And today I'm going to be breaking down my gameplay and showing you my thought process and how I consistently win not only every fight, but how I also consistently win ranked games. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, but now onto the video. Now the first fight we're going to go over, I'm going to teach all of you how to fight aggressive while also being a smart fighter at the same time. Right here, I see a player in front of me and I'm going to get some opening damage. Now when I get some opening damage, I'm just going to place a ramp in front of me, block off to my right, and then I'm going to throw my teleporter. Now everyone knows that if you throw a teleporter on someone's head, it makes noises, but what a lot of people don't know is that if you throw it up in the air high enough while teleporting, it makes no noise at all. And in this example, I throw it high enough to where the other player can't hear me teleport, and that means he literally has no idea I'm above him, and that means I can land on his head while pre-piecing him, full box him, and then I can just pump him and then pick up a simple kill just because I did so. So make sure when you're entering a fight and you're going to throw your ender pearl, make sure that you throw it really high above their head so that it makes no noise whatsoever. Now every player you fight in ranked is going to have a different playstyle, but one way that you can always be consistent in understanding your opponent's playstyle is by reading body language. So in this fight right here, I'm going to see a player in front of me and I'm going to get a little bit of opening damage. Not that much, but what I'm going to do is throw my teleporter over the player, and then I'm going to try and do what I've shown you guys multiple times, hold my cone out and catch myself with it. I fail and I fall on low ground. Now when I fall on low ground, I read this player's movement. See how he looks to his left and my right and he holds out his map? This means he's probably going to move out in that direction. So I'm going to place a floor and a cone at the same time and then double edit them. If the player walks into this area, I can drop him into my box. I can then pump him, but then I build a wall in front of me to block his shot. And then I can edit on the player full piecing him, and then I'm able to pick up a simple kill, even though I whiffed that shot because I'm garbage. So make sure to do things like this and read your opponent's patterns. Moving on now, let's talk about a big question a lot of players ask. How do I fight against aggressive players or someone that is just better than you? In this example of a fight right here, I'm going to take high ground on a player and I'm going to double edit on him and get some opening damage. When I do this though, I change angles and then I'm going to double edit in. But the player tracks this, he reads me, and he's going to pump me, and as you can see, I took a big hit of damage, and now I'm basically on 100 HP. At this point, this fight isn't worth it, and I need to back up and create space, so I flip with the cone in front of me. After I do this, I can then create space. Notice how I make 2 boxes instead of 1 while I'm meting up. What this means is that I can play from both boxes. Now while I'm meting up, the other player is then going to come back and he's going to push me. Now when he pushes me, pay attention to when I edit and why I edit. The player pulls up to me with his ramp out and he's building. That means that he can't shoot back at me because he has his map out. So I'm just going to edit on him, wide edit, because I know he can't shoot at me, and then I'm just going to crack him. But after I crack him, I reset the wall to make sure to not take any damage in return. After I get that big hit of opening damage, I'm then going to edit on my right wall under him to make sure he can't see me, and then place a floor above me so he can't edit on me, and then I'm going to place a ramp in front of me. But as I place the ramp, pay attention to how I turn around and hold out a wall while looking up. This allows me to high wall the player, and now I have control over his box. Now after I get control of his box, pay attention to how I make a window edit and then place a cone in the box. This is because if I make a wide edit, the player looks at me, he cracks me. Same thing with the wall reset. And then I was able to full piece this player up, but notice how I'm super patient and let the player fall into my crosshair, and then I can pick up a simple kill just because I was smart with my fighting skills. Now when you're fighting in ranked, one of the biggest mistakes that is holding you back from either winning games or ranking up in general is by not picking the right fights. A lot of players will enter the wrong scenario and they will get punished for it. Instead, you need to learn how to pick and choose the player you're going to fight. In this fight right here, I see 2 other people fighting and I realize that one of them is creating space, and that more than likely means he's weak on health. So I'm going to throw a teleporter above him. When I throw the teleporter above him, remember you teleport high enough so that it makes no sound effects. After I pick up my first kill though, notice how I'm going to give myself a huge break and allow myself to have time to relax and then create space. What this means is it allows my brain to reset before I take my next fight. So now that I've taken my little break in this fight, this player is going to approach my roof after I create some space. When he does this, all I'm going to do is very simply, when the player tries to attack my left floor, I'm going to edit out the right floor. This will catch the player off guard. I can then crack him and then reset. Now after I crack this player, I'm just going to simply try to take high ground and he's going to mantle onto my roof. When he does this, all I do is edit the floor in a certain direction, and then I edit the left tile of this cone, and then I'm just going to sprint jump off the cone to give myself a little boost, and then just reset the cone at the same time. And then I can just pump the player and then pick up my second kill of this fight. But I was only able to make these good decisions and be a smarter fighter because I took a small break. Now every player you fight in ranked is going to be different. You may be fighting against a 9-year-old who wasn't even born in Chapter 2, or you may be fighting against somebody's dad. But no matter who you're fighting, the best way that you can consistently win fights, even if you're a bad player, is by understanding your opponent's playstyle. Now that may sound a little weird, but let me just explain. In this fight right here, I'm running up to a player and I'm going to get some opening damage on a pre-fire, and then I'm going to sprint up to the player and box him and cone him. Now when I cone him, he steals the wall. Now notice, after he steals the wall, he's already holding out his map like he's going to edit. At this point, the only edit he could make here is a wide edit or maybe a window edit, but either way, I'll be able to see him. So all I'm going to do is then just hold out my crosshair in front of the player so that if he edits, I can just pump him in the face like I did so here. So make sure no matter what type of player you're fighting, you're understanding their body language and understanding what type of play style they have. Now, if you don't know already, with the Godzilla update that came out a few days ago, they added a medallion to the game, which is basically just grim dashes. Now, what a lot of people seem to forget about this coin is that you can dash into players' boxes to pick up free kills. In this fight right here, for example, notice I see a player boxed up below me and I know he's weak on HP, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to spray and then I'm going to dash into the box at the same time when the wall breaks. This means I land behind the player and then I can just pump him and pick up a free kill. And not only that, it's great for winning games too, because you don't even need to carry a Oni mask. Noticing in these games, I literally just rotate to the front of zone with my dashes and I can pick up free wins. So if you want to win games but also pick up free kills, play for this medallion. Now, the best way to become a smarter fighter, in my opinion, is by avoiding 50-50s. Now, I understand that every single time in a fight, you're not going to be able to avoid 50-50s. Sometimes they just happen and you have to take them as they go. Now, if you're in a 50-50 and you're on an opponent's wall, my best advice to you is to carry momentum into a box. Don't just stand on the wall trying to swing in. Carry momentum, like in this fight right here. Notice how I get the wall weak, and then I'm going to get up to the wall as I'm moving. Notice how I'm spraying as I'm moving towards the wall. What this does is if I get up close enough to the wall and hug it, when the player tries to hold the wall, I will be phased into the box when he holds it, and that means I phase through, and then I'm able to just spray the player and pick up a kill. So if you want to jump into a box and you can't avoid a 50-50, always carry momentum into the box. The same goes with the dashes. Now, a lot of people think to win ranked games consistently, you have to have god mechanics, or you just have to have crazy aim or anything like that. But the truth is, if you have better positioning than every single player around you, you will always win the game. Let's take this game for example right here. I have 15 kills, you can see by the timeline and in the bottom right. I could W key everyone right now, but to secure this win, all I'm going to do is put myself in a better position than everyone else to win the game. Notice how I see Zone is pulling down this hill. Now, I am in the best position out of anyone, so I'm going to let Zone open up, and then I'm going to make sure to get myself in first. Notice how I'm in first, and everyone else is in the back of Zone. Even though this game isn't stacked, if I get teamed on here, I lose. Now, the first thing I'm going to do once I get in this position is I'm going to grief the best player or the most stacked player in the lobby. So since I know that this player has the dash coin, I'm going to grief him specifically. So I know where he is and I'm just patiently waiting for him to move. When I see him move, then I can just spray him and beam him. Now that I've gotten that big beam and I'm in a great position, you'll notice that Zone is pulling all the way into this corner. Now, if you were to be playing this game, where would you go? Would you go on low ground? Would you go down here? No, you would want to be first to this piece right here. If you can get on natural high ground or old builds before anyone else, you win. So notice how I'm holding all these players in the back of Zone and I'm not letting them leave. This then forces the other two players to then fight, and even though this guy kills the player, I'm in such a good position where I will never have to fight this player with a shotgun. So all I have to do is look to the front of Zone. I see that these are old builds. I'm just going to throw my teleporter, and then I'm just going to land at the front of Zone, and then just build in some hard mats, and then just wait for the player to approach me. Since I have better Zone priority than the other player, I can see him in the open. He uses his katana. Big mistake, and I get a big beam of damage. After I do this, I'm going to do a very simple trick to always win games. I'm going to spray in erratic patterns. Notice how when I'm spraying this player, I stop for a millisecond and then I keep spraying. What this will hopefully do is make the player pull out his gun, and as you can see, it worked, and the player pulls out his gun while I'm spraying the player, and then I'm able to pick up a free win. So make sure if you want to dominate every ranked game, you do things like this. That is the end of this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you are subscribed, but if you want to see more content like this, go check out this video. But with that, I'm out. Peace.